this is Kimberly from Lakeside Loops, and today I'm going to show you how to make the Miller Market Bag. Now, with all of my video tutorials, this one's no exception, it's just meant as a visual aid, so you will need to pull up a copy of the written pattern in order to make this bag. You can find all the links on how to pull up the free pattern, or if you'd like to download an inexpensive PDF, all the links are on my website. So www.lakesideloops.com/Miller. You can get all the info there. This pattern was actually featured on Make and Do Crew. If you're not familiar with Jess of Make and Do Crew, which I can't imagine you're not because she's so crazy talented, I was really honored to have this design on her blog. It was just such an amazing treat for me. So again, if you go to my website, you can find all the links to get the free pattern from her website or download a PDF from my Etsy shop or Ravelry shop as well. So let's get started. The supplies. So I used this amazing rewind tape yarn from Lion brand. This yarn looks a lot like raffia, but it's really, really soft. I was really surprised by the texture when I grabbed it. It ended up being a really soft, really feels really nice against your skin bag, but it has that look of raffia, which is so nice for a summer bag. So grab yourself some yarn, and it doesn't have to be this yarn. I'll go over some alternatives with you here in a second. You're also going to need some scissors, a size H hook, or 5mm crochet hook, tapestry needle to weave in your ends at the end if you'd like, and you will need stitch markers for this, at least 4 stitch markers for when we fold it all together at the end. These come in handy. So grab your, and it doesn't have to be stitch markers. You can use yarn to mark your place. You can use safety pins. If you don't have actual stitch markers, don't stress about that. You could use earrings. You can use a lot of different things. So just grab 4 things to use to mark your place towards the end. All right, so for yarn alternatives, you could use raffia. I've used this before from Wool and the Gang. It's awesome. The look, it just looks incredible. It's really easy to work with. It's almost like, well, it is paper. So you can actually, if you pull it apart, you can actually rip it when it's just in this single strand form, but when you work it together, it creates a really solid piece. The texture is rougher than this, obviously. This is very soft, so the texture is a bit rougher, but the look is very similar. They both look the same, they just feel different. So that's one option. Another option is good old cotton yarn. I love using cotton yarn for summer bags. It wears really well, washes really well, and it just has a good summer look to it, I feel like. These are both Bernat Handicrafter cotton yarn. This color in particular I love to use, but it didn't have a label. So let's get started. The body of the bag is pretty easy to work up. We're just going to make a basic rectangle using half double crochet. So we're going to create our beginning chain, and then from there we're just going to be working half double crochet in rows. So this is a really great project if you just want to mindlessly crochet while you're watching television or listening to a podcast. This is a perfect project for beginners. If you're new to crochet, all you have to know is the half double crochet, slip stitch, chain, and how to work in rows. All right, so once you've created your beginning chain, and again, you can head to my website to find the written pattern to get all the specifics on your chain length and your stitches and your rows. This video tutorial is just meant to help illustrate any of the trickier parts or parts you might have questions about. So once you've done your beginning chain, you're going to half double crochet in the 3rd chain from your hook. So this loop is on my hook. I'm going to count back 3. So 1, 2, 3. I'm going to half double crochet in this chain. And I'm going to continue to half double crochet all the way down the chain, putting 1 half double crochet in each chain. Now, in terms of your gauge, if your stitches and the measurements are a little off from the pattern, don't sweat it. What's important is that your finished rectangle is a 1/3. So whatever the width is on the side, you want the length to be 3 times that. So you're gonna work your rectangle until you get a perfect 1 by 3. And it doesn't matter what the gauge is or if it's exactly the same as the pattern. It won't impact your bag very much. If it's a little off, your bag will just be a little bit bigger or a little bit smaller, but what's important is that it's a 1 by 3, and that's critical for when we fold it together. If it's not a perfect 1 by 3, it won't fold together well. All right, so I've skipped ahead obviously, and now I've finished my rectangle, and I'm going to show you how to fold your piece to create the bag. So your length should be 3 times your width. So whatever this is, your length should be 3 times that. And that way everything will line up really well when we start folding. So I'm going to show you where to place the stitch markers and then how to fold the rectangle to create the bag. So I'm going to hop down and I'll see you on the floor. All right, so now that I've shown you how to fold the bag, I'm going to show you how to seam your folds together. So the stitch markers are great because it shows you which 2 stitches to work into first. So we're going to start by joining this stitch into this stitch. So the 2 stitch marked stitches, it's a bit of a tongue twister, will be where we do our first slip stitch. And we're just going to slip stitch all the way down our bag. I'll secure that later. We'll worry about that guy later. Right now I just want to show you. So I just work my way down the seam, down the fold, and slip stitch it together, working my hook into this side and into that side, yarn over, pull through both. Whoop. All the way down. And then I'm going to repeat the same thing. I'm going to flip my bag over and repeat that on the other side, starting again with my 2 marked stitches. And when you get to the very end, you should have done exactly 50 slip stitches, and everything should line up perfectly for you. Then you can cut your yarn, pull it through, and then go in through the inside of the bag. And you can grab that end. It'll come up right here and pull it in to the inside of your bag. And I love the corners and I love the seam on this bag. So often with crochet we're trying to hide seams or create invisible seams, and I love that the seam is an accent. It's such a clean line and it creates a really cool look with this bag. It almost looks wrapped, or you can tell it's folded together. I love that. The seam, to me, it's just the best part of the bag. All right, so now that we've joined our seam, or created our seam here and joined our folds, we're going to look towards the top of our bag at these points. And we're going to be creating our handle by, we're going to create a handle by creating chains that link these 2 points together. So we're going to chain 30 and join here, chain 30 and join here, and back and forth until we have 4 chains. And then we're going to single crochet over top of those chains to create the handle. So to start, I'm going to join my yarn to this tip. So you can join your yarn on anywhere on the tip. You could pull it in here or here. It really doesn't matter as long as it's toward the end of this tip. So I'm going to start here, grab my yarn, pull it through, and I'm just going to knot it to get myself started. Oh. It's really hard to do this on video. Sorry for the fumbling. Now I'm going to chain 30. So 1, 2, 3. All right, so now that I've chained 30, I'm going to join it to the opposite tip, so the other side of the bag. And again, it doesn't matter where specifically I go in as long as it's somewhere on the end. So I'm just going to slip stitch to join it to the opposite tip, and now I'm going to chain 30 again and join it back on the opposite side. So I'm just about to attach my 3rd chain to the opposite tip of the bag, and I just wanted to show you it doesn't really matter where. You don't have to attach into the same spot each time. You can kind of mix it up a bit. This will all be covered up in the end. It doesn't matter where, lost my hook there. It doesn't matter where you're joining as long as it's right at the tip. So you can see here I've got kind of different locations. I've got kind of different locations that I've used, just wherever you can slip stitch into that's at the tip or the point of your bag. Now I'm going to start chaining my 4th chain to join onto the other side. Alright, so I've just joined my 4th chain to the opposite peak of the bag. So I've got all 4 chains joining the 2 points at the top of the bag together. And now we're going to single crochet over top of all 4 chains to create our handle. So what I'm going to do is hold my yarn back here. I'm going to take my hook, bring it underneath and to the back, grab this yarn and pull it to the front. Now I'm going to yarn over and pull through that loop and that. I'll show you again. So bring my hook to the back, grab the yarn, bring it to the front. You can see I've created a loop there. Plus the loop on my hook, I'm going to yarn over and pull through both. So I'm just single crocheting over top of the 4 chains, and I'm going to go all the way down until I get to the other side. So as you can see, my handle is starting to take shape here. I'm just going to continue to single crochet over these 4 chains. So again, I grab, whoop, it's hard to do on camera. Grab my yarn around, yarn over, and pull through. And as I go, sometimes I push these closer together. Sometimes there can be gaps in them, and you can just slide your stitches closer together so that there are no holes in the way that it covers the chain, if that makes sense. I hope it makes sense. So just keep working, try to keep a consistent amount of pressure so that your handle isn't getting smaller or wider as you go, because it's really easy to sort of squeeze these together and make it really tight, or the opposite and keep it really loose. Try to just be consistent all the way as you cross over to the other side. So once the handle is attached, this is what it looks like when it's attached on both sides. Very sturdy, does a nice job, soft on your shoulder. I also think this bag would be really cool with some kind of fabric handle, you know, like a floral or a coastal pattern. If you could find a really cool fabric and make some kind of a, even like 2 handkerchiefs and knot them, or just some kind of really cool fabric would be neat, or leather straps would be cool too if you had leather to work with and could make a strap out of that. You could also increase the length of this and make a crossbody bag, which I think would also work with this pattern really well. And this is the finished bag. It's kind of hard to get it all in the frame here, but your handle at the top, and when it's worn, it kind of changes the drape of it a bit. So when it lays flat, it's like this, but then when you actually wear it, it sort of poofs this out a bit, which I love the look of. I hope that this video tutorial helped with any questions that you might have had about the pattern. If you still have any questions, please don't hesitate to email me. It's lakesideloops@gmail.com. I'd love to help any way that I can. Thank you so much for watching. I would love if you would subscribe to my channel. And again, thank you to Make and Do Crew for giving me the opportunity to have this pattern on their site, and to Lion Brand for the rewind tape yarn. I really enjoyed working with it.